Okay, so if you ever wanted to move overseas, today you're going to learn about the math of moving overseas. And this goes almost no matter what country you're in, but this is more so for Americans who have wanted to move overseas. I'm going to show you how simple it can be and how the math adds up no matter what age you are, and almost anything over $5,000, why it makes sense to do so. And if you have a family, even more so. So it's the first time I'm ever using the board, so y'all are going to stay with me. This is the math behind moving overseas. So the majority of people that I talk to, we're going to draw this out on the board, okay? This is my first time using the board, so you guys going to be patient with me. I want to make sure y'all can see the whole board over here. Y'all see that? Let's get this right. This is about to blow your mind, and I haven't taught on the board in a very long time. We're going to talk about the math of moving overseas. So we're just going to do the math of it. So we're just do the math of moving overseas. We're going to call it MOMO, okay? So I want you to think about it. In the States, so we're going to go just in the US. If you think about the prices of things, these are people who I talk to. People are paying, now it could be more or less, these people I talk to in the Cleveland area, they're paying around, like the average people I talk to, they're renting a place is $1,000 a month. Okay, so this is all in dollars, okay? That's the US and this is in dollars. $1,000 a month, all right? This is gonna make some crazy sense to you in a second. $1,000, and this is just your rent, okay? Then we have, let's say you got, I don't know, 350. That's just your car, okay? Then we're gonna add 100. That's just the insurance for the car. All right, y'all following me on this? The insurance for the car. So you have a decent basic health insurance. Let's just throw it 200. And this is all monthly, okay? So this is just your, this is gonna be your health insurance. I'm telling you, this is gonna blow your mind. This is just your health insurance. And for y'all who aren't from the States looking at this, you'll probably be shocked at the prices of this and why it makes a million times more sense to go overseas. So we have your rent right here, okay? 1,030, okay, I'm probably messing with the math because I really want to get through this so you can understand. So, and what else? What are some other things? Maybe you can help me in the comments. What are some other things that people buy when they're here? So I'm not even talking about gas. Let's just keep it cheap for gas and we'll say 100 a month for gas. And let's just keep it at that. So we haven't talked about food. We haven't talked about going out to eat. We haven't talked about going for drinks. We haven't talked about shopping. We haven't talked about getting little things that you need throughout the month. We haven't talked about any of that. And we're already at, let's see, one, two, we're at 750. We're just with this alone, we're at 1750 US dollar for just this isn't even the basic because you have other things. You have, like I say, food will be easy. While I'm here, it can be easy 150 a week, and that's keeping it very simple. Okay. Why do I tell people to move overseas? Why do I tell people? And by the way, here in the States as well, the average how much money people make per month, I think it's at, what was it, 40,000? So they're making around, let's say 4,000 per month. Okay, that's what people are making. And by the time your taxes and everything's taken out, a lot of people are making like really less than that. Like you're taking home maybe 30, I don't know, 3,300 of it. And this is just to stay above water. So at the end of the month, most Americans, they don't have $500 worth of savings just because of this alone. This is in the US, okay? So let's look overseas, and we're not even going to talk about like Southeast Asia. We're going to talk about just Europe, okay? Place that I'm more familiar with. We're just talking about the EU. This is in Europe. The average salary there is around 1,200 euros per month. 1,200 euros. 1,200 euros per month is the average there. Like you can find apartments for 400 euros. Cars, you don't really use a car when you're there. Having a car is nice, but the train system, the way the cities are set up, airports are set up, you don't really need a car. So you can, and I recommend, honestly, if you guys watching my vlogs, having a car is actually more expensive. I was paying like what is I paying? Like $3 every 15 minutes to park in Paris. And it's not needed. It's much better to just cycle around or walk around. And there's train systems and everyone takes it. It's more of a standard in their culture to take public transportation, where here it's like, maybe. So you automatically kind of, when you come here, you don't really have to have that. Car's not really needed, all right? Which means that isn't really needed. Now, the health cost, and let me say this, if you actually have the health here in the States, you still have to pay when you go to the doctor. I had a friend, and this is gonna be just real life examples. She worked with me and she didn't feel good because of the heat, went to the emergency room, and boom, $700 on top of her own health insurance that she had here. When you have a car, things can go wrong with your car. Friend told me, easy, $650, gone. Now you add that to what someone's making, what people are spending, and like I said, we didn't add in food. Maybe I should have added that in. If you were being really cheap, let's say it's just $2,000, so you have $1,300 at the end of the month to try to get through. And trust me, most people do not have that. Okay, so health insurance, when you're in other countries, you don't really have it. You can get it. You all who want to travel, there's one company that I recommend, and I'm gonna write it up here. This is the one that I use, World Nomad, I think insurance. Just Google that and you'll see. World Nomad Insurance, that's what I use when I'm traveling overseas, and that works phenomenal. You can book it on the spot, like literally right there when you're in the country, like, oh, I forgot to book it. Literally can just do it right there, okay? And they cover you for up to like $100,000 and all that stuff. But here's the thing, when you're in other countries, the health insurance, once you go to, we're just saying EU, the prices just to go see a doctor are way down. Like every time I go to the dentist, I go to the dentist in France, I go to in Ukraine. Back before, I'd be in Ukraine to the dentist, that's where I go. Like a root canal, which in the States, so let's just say a dentist root canal, here in the States, $2,000, just to be simple. I got it done for $300. So we can automatically see we got a $700, $1,700 difference. Okay. Gas, well, you don't even have that when you move to Europe. You move to a place in Paris, let's say we double the price because the Olympics is happening right now. So my friends have told me a lot of the prices have gone up, but you can live outside in a decent place for $800. Let's say we take it to that. $800. Because you got to remember, this is the number you want to look at. When you want to go to a country, the number one thing, and when you go to a new country, you don't see it right over here. The number one thing you want to look at is I made that up, but basically you want to look at how much they make per month. Because it's going to tell you a lot about, for example, in the States, you need this. $4,000 is low, and you need that to just have a very decent life. Because what people don't understand about here in the States is when all this stuff happened, here we go, we got a $650, so we're at $1,350 just for something like this. It's okay, because in the States we have credit card. Put it on the card, and they'll raise your limit so you can have a $10,000 limit. Doesn't matter. Okay. Maybe some of this is not, I'm hypothetically speaking a little bit, but that's what you do. And when you have the credit card, you see people having all these great things, but here's the thing why you're trapped, okay? Why people get stuck here. Because now you have to pay this every month and it's taxed at 29%. I know I'm going fast, per year. Good stocks, stock market, I think on average has done 7% a year, which means they are making more money from you, even if you have a great year in the stock market at 15%, 25%, Nvidia is over 100%. Okay, there's exceptions, I know. But okay, so we're just doing simple numbers, guys. Trying to show you the math. So you can see how you can get in trouble really quick. And here in the US, this is per month, guys. All this right here, per month. So you see how people here in the States, you're stuck. You're stuck. Because if you're just making it, you can't take a month off. So why do I tell people why they can go overseas? So this is Europe. Europe is a little bit more expensive. I was there last in Europe 10 months ago. No, like a little bit over a year ago. What was I? What did I this year? Can't remember. I think I was there last February. Yeah, a year ago I was there. Prices have gone up, but people are still living on this. And for example, in France, they have something called the Schmidt. The Schmidt is the smallest amount of money people make. And I believe that's $800, 800 euros. Now, Switzerland's a little bit different. Luxembourg's very different. But that's the Schmidt. That's the lowest people make. And they can live on that. $800, can you see living in US would be a challenge because, okay, which one are we going to leave out? Are we not going to drive, have health insurance, no gas, and just pay the rent? Still can't even pay that. And then you have to think about the area you're going to be in for that cost. 800, I'm going to be in a decent area in Paris I can find where I'm just maybe 15, 20 minutes away from the Eiffel Tower. Okay. So, and a lot of people share roommates with people. So this is why I say it makes sense. So to get back to here, okay, this is the first time I've actually written on the board. So I'm gonna let me know what you think about this. And so you want to, before you even move overseas, you want to look up the MGI. You want to look up the monthly gross income. What do people make? So I don't have it off the top of my head. I mean, like I haven't looked at this in a while because I kind of just know I have people now that I know who live in these places. But in France, like I say, when I was living there, people were making around like 1,300 was good. 1,300 was a good thing to make. But if you look in a place like Colombia, I was just there 2 years ago. In Colombia, I believe they make around, I think it was around $400 a month. They make around $400 a month. So can you see how if you went there, even with half the salary you have in the US, that you're still good? You can go with a tenth of the salary, which all this, what I'm trying to lead this to you is you can see the buying power of the money you have, the actual money that you have, the power that you have to buy something. This is what you have to understand. Okay. And this is just simple math. Okay. Why it makes more sense, even if, and we'll talk about if we have time, I don't want to go over too much in the video, but Colombia is 400. Okay, so you guys know I lived in Bali. Now, this was back, I lived there 2020, 2021. Now the prices have probably tripled. When I was there, people were making $120 a month. The people who worked at the Quick Mart, at the Seven, they were making $120 a month. That's how much they make. And they had what they needed. When I was living there, okay, so we're gonna come back over here. So we have this, we have Europe. So let's say this was when I was living in Bali. And this was in 2020 to 2021. I left it at the middle of 2021. Okay, so you see the math on this. The rent. So I actually rented two places. The cheapest, the least expensive place that I rented, which was a room. And if I was by myself there, I would have just lived there. I was paying $85 per month. Now, understand, I'm not trying to make this video to have you guys to be cheap or have least expensive. I want to let you just see just from the standpoint of what it is and have your mind open a little bit. I was paying $85 per month for rent. I had one room, had AC, had a bed, had a desk, and had a huge bathroom. Everything that I needed. And we had a shared kitchen. But I could live there with my family as the owner, Kadek and YN, I can't remember the names. They lived there as well. 85 a month. My car didn't have a car, had a scooter, which I was paying 35 a month for. This is going to expose a lot of people too. Because like, these people are so rich, they're traveling 5-star all the time. When you see 5-star, even if you triple it, it's still probably better than the place that you live for $1,000 a month in a better place. So I upgraded my scooter to one that was $80 a month. I had an NMAX, yeah. There was no insurance. There was no health insurance. If I were to go with World Nomads, I want to say it was around $80 a month for that. But here's the thing, healthcare is so affordable. You just go to the doctor, and I think it was like $5 or $10. So it was $5 if you needed help. But here's the thing, when you go overseas, you probably aren't even going to need it, because when you go overseas, most of the time, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be eating healthier, walking more, because you don't have a car. Okay, you follow me? Gas, I want to say I was putting in maybe $7 a week. Maybe. If I went far, maybe I put in 10. Let's say 10. Okay. So you can see how automatically, can y'all see that? You can make this in one day working at a minimum wage, or not minimum wage, but a decent job here in the States. Like I work a decent, the job that I work on the side here while I'm here, we make more than that in a day. And that's working for someone, and they give us health insurance on it. So can you see how just makes more sense just from that standpoint of if you just saved up, lived low, how you can make that affordable? Can you see that? Oh, and by the way, let's talk about some bonuses that I had living in Bali. So when I was there, I probably got an average of 1.5 massages a day. I say that because most days I would get 2 massages a day. There's probably 2 or 3 month period where I got 2 massages a
May
day.
we have your attention, please? Would Ruben Boyd please come to the checkout desk? Ruben Boyd, the checkout desk, please? Thank you.
So I would get 2 massages a day. Massages there are $5. Did you hear me right? Massage there, $5. Okay, so all this is in dollars. This was $5 a massage. Okay, I would get 2 of those a day. So we're at $10 for the day. Later on, why I got 1 massage, because I would get two people to give me a massage. So I have 2 of the Balinese come over and they would massage me. I get it from 2 people for 2 hours. And that would usually cost me around maybe $20, sometimes less, sometimes $15. And then I would just tip them. So let's just say 20. And I would do that every day. And even that equals, that was $600 a month just in massages. My biggest expense was that. If that's what I wanted. And like I say, that's if I got the 2-person massage. If I was just getting my basic massage, which most people do, 1 massage a day for $5, that's $150 per month for massages. So you'll realize your biggest expense there was a massage. Can you see why it makes more, why? Just from the math. Why just the math of moving overseas makes sense. So this is just the math of moving overseas. Okay, now I probably should make another video talking about other things about it, but this is just the math. We're not talking about the free time you have, okay? So that's the math. Hold on, we're gonna break it down. If we're here, we're gonna do this whole thing right. I'm gonna break it down so y'all can see this. I don't want to make this video again. People keep asking me all this stuff and they want me to explain to them. This is the video I'm sending them to. Okay. So that's just the math. There's something even more important than the math. Something even more important than your math of moving overseas, something greater than that, and that is your LS, your lifestyle of moving overseas. Which meaning if you're here in the States and you're working 10 hours per day, 10 out of the 24 hours a day, okay, and you're sleeping for, let's say, 8 of the 24 hours a day, you're left with about 6 hours a day to do with what you want to do. And here in the States, it usually is shopping, people spend money or watching shows. When you go overseas, whether you have a little thing you do online 4 or 5 hours, because you don't need 10 hours every single day if you're living at those prices that you saw before. Now, like I say, I think everyone just strives to make the most money they can, but while you're trying to figure that out, why not live in a place where you can actually afford to do it? Remember, you couldn't afford in the US, you couldn't afford to take off, 3 months because of the prices of everything. But what you make in 1 month while you were here in the States, you could see that what you made in 1 month would allow you to live overseas somewhere comfortably. Overseas, this is in the US, but overseas, it would have allowed you to live for 4 months, 6, 8. How much do you spend overseas? So now your days don't look like this. 10 out of 24 hours, because when you start to multiply that, when you start to do the math of that, working 10 hours a day or whatever, 8 hours a day, whatever. Imagine if you just had money saved up. I really think if you had like 10 grand saved up to be safe, you could go fly, buy your ticket, your flight overseas would probably be like $560, buy a one-way flight, get over there, and you could live comfortably, I think, for a good 8 to 10 months. Doing all the things that I said, having a nice place to live, place with a pool. You can go on my YouTube video, my channel when I was in Bali, and I break down all the places that I lived. Because I lived in places that were more expensive, but when we were paying $1,200, there was 2 pools, 5 staff, 24 hours, security. And that was just because it was a really cool experience and it was really fun. But I didn't need it. I had the most fun in my $85 a month room that I rented. That was the more fun. It was more central. I loved it. But you can see how now your time is more free. So you have more time. So imagine you have more time per day. Imagine now you have 20 hours a day to do what it is that you want. This is you time. I don't know how many times I tell people that take time for you. Well, here you get 20 hours of you time. Okay? And now you can have your 4 hours if you have a remote job or something like that. But even let's just say 6 hours of the 24 to figure things out. Per day, multiply. You got 6 hours every day. That still will give you 18 hours a day to do with whatever it is that you want to do. You still got 18 hours to live with, do what you want. I wrote around, spent hours writing around, thinking of what I wanted, listening to books, what projects I want to do, what YouTube videos to make. And this is just one thing. There's more. There's a lot more. I'll break this down. If you've been watching to this point in time, then you definitely qualify for a call with me. There's a link where you can book it below. I'm putting together some program. I don't know if it's out already, but if you book a call with me and you schedule a call, I'll explain. Well, let's get you clear first on where you want to go and like what's the big picture for you real quick. We'll do that in a 15-minute call, 15 to 20-minute call, as long as I can. Now, if you look down in the description and it's a group thing, that means I just host something group or whatever it is that I have available for you guys. It's down below, because sometimes when I get so many calls, I just know there's not a price that someone can pay me for the call. Okay, so that's here. But here's the thing that we haven't talked about, which I never thought about until I got overseas. This was the people already there, the PAT. Okay, we call it the PAT. The people already there. What does that mean? That means that you're going over there, coming from your 9-to-5 job, and you're moving overseas. Okay, you're moving overseas from your 9-to-5 job. All right, but you got to remember, the people who are overseas, they've been there for years plus. They've already been there, which means they have online businesses. A lot of people have things that they're doing. They're having little hustles, and they share those things with you. The reason I started my whole life coaching business was because I got overseas and I was around people who had coaching businesses, who were making $1,000, $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 a month, $100,000 a month. And you get to become friends with them, and you get to help them because you have perspectives and skills that they don't have, that they can learn from you. And they have skills that you haven't learned yet. So this is just one of the things. The people that you meet, for me, was more valuable than the money, and for me, more valuable. I know time is more valuable than time, but more valuable even than the time that I had free, because I didn't see it coming. I knew I'd have time for me, but I never saw the fact that I would have 6 hours, or excuse me, 6 hours, that I would have time to meet people and get stories and develop connections and to build networks. Most people live in the same house. You rent villas together where everyone's paying nice villa and everyone's paying just a certain amount. So that's the crazy thing. I hope you guys are understanding this, because I say all that because there's so much opportunity for you guys out there. And what people don't realize is that you can waste a lot of time and money trying to figure things out while you're here, and you can burn through a lot of money. This isn't the life for everyone. And I didn't even break down the part if I had for a bunch of kids and all that kind of stuff, the healthy foods, the safety of everything over there. Like it can be a really amazing life. And I think the sooner that people can realize that, I think the more that you can have peace of mind knowing that no matter where you go, you're going to be okay. Some of you have 10 grand saved up, and you could go over there and you would be okay. You would be fine. You would be fine. And you would thrive a lot more than here. And just worried that the next thing is going to come or the next bill is going to come. And moving overseas could possibly be not only a viable option, but an option just to get a breather. I tell people, you can always find a job. You can always find a job. And the opportunity to do something like that can give you peace of mind that will allow you to do so many amazing things and have peace. And when you realize that the price of peace and the cost of not having it are not equal, that it is a very powerful thing. So with that, I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any tips or anything you want to share, if you enjoyed this, there's so many things. I just look in the description. There's no pressure, but guys, the math of moving over there from so many different standpoints, not only from that, but the standpoint of you becoming someone that people look up to because you've done it, you being the first one to do it, and changing your perspective. And once your perspective changes in your mind, it usually never shifts back. You'll always know that that's out there and that that's a possibility. And now you can share that with even other people and help them. So with that, be blessed. I want the best for you guys. You guys who are booking calls, I'll speak to you all soon. I don't know how, if there's still one-on-one calls available, I'm going to say they do go fast, and it will and the price goes up, or they just close in general. It depends on what I'm doing, because if I'm on the move, I don't do the calls really. So with that, if you've been leaning or wanting to go overseas, I hope this math kind of added up to give you a possibility, because there's so many options. I could break down each country individually like that. Of the 40 plus countries that I've actually been to and done that math on, and I could probably do it for a bunch of countries that I haven't even done the math on, that I've just been to. But I think you'll get more than you can imagine. So with that, take care, and I'll see you all in the next video. Yeah, take care.